Thanks for joining us for New Mexico in Focus. Did you know that our state has the second highest rate of cyclist deaths in the nation? The new documentary, Hikers, Bikers, and Automobiles, attempts to address the issues that make streets less safe for people who are walking and biking on the streets of Albuquerque and Santa Fe. The film comes to us from local filmmaker Chris Schuler of Christopher Productions. Now, pedestrian and cyclist safety is a concern for many community advocates, health providers, and public officials. And this week we focus on why safety on the roads for everyone is an important part of making communities healthier. I'm joined at the table tonight by special panel, Marisa DeMarco, a public health reporter for KUNM, Melissa Lozoya, she's director of the Department of Municipal Development for the city of Albuquerque, there's a mouthful there, Don McIver, a poet, educator, and a solid bike enthusiast, and Ann Overstreet, she's a board member of Bike ABQ. Marisa, let me start with you. Some wonderful reporting by you and Ed Williams at KUNM on biking issues, and one thing that really caught our eye here at New Mexico in Focus is the report you did on the fatalities and the problems we've had at Central and San Mateo. And I want to start there because it's an interesting central point to kind of get this off on safety and public safety. What did you find out about that intersection?
Sure. So it is kind of it's the worst intersection for pedestrian fatalities, or it was about a year ago. And what's interesting about it is it has 3 lanes of traffic going in all directions. It has bus stops on all sides, and it is really a lot used by pedestrians. So it's heavily used by pedestrians. So I think one of the things that starts to happen is that, you know, there are these moments in the day that become really high traffic over there for pedestrians especially. So one of the things that the Mr. Cog, the Mid-Rio Grande Council of Governments, is doing is they called on the Federal Highway Administration to come look at the problem and just offer fresh eyes on solutions for that problem. And there is an issue with pedestrian fatalities in that area.
The numbers were not good. They're actually kind of frightening in that area. What do they attribute that to, that so many fatalities and accidents? What was the real problem there?
You know, so they haven't released the report yet, as far as I know, but you know, in looking at the area, there are a lot of walkers, there are people who are going all different directions and all different places, and there's the high buses. It's just a heavily traversed area for cars as well. People go pretty fast through there. So those are some of the obvious things that kind of stand out when you're looking at that intersection. And we did kind of stand there on the corner and look on a Friday afternoon, which is kind of the high times for a lot of the crashes to occur, and just kind of observe like what's going on.
You know, Melissa, that's a challenge for the municipality, certainly, and you can't get to every intersection and make sure everything's great for walkers and bikers everywhere. But are there some fundamentals that you guys are looking at as a city for certain intersections? Are there certain problem areas you want to get after and say, look, we need to drop this amount of fatalities here?
We do get information from the Mid-Region Council of Governments and their crash rates, and we look at that closely and we determine what the attributing factors might be. And there are areas where we do want to focus on. Obviously, everyone has a budget and has some limits that they need to work within. But that is something that we take seriously and want to address.
In the overall scheme of things, getting away from that particular intersection, what's your overall philosophy in city government right now? It seems like the administration is very pedestrian friendly, wants to do something for cyclists and everybody else as well. So is there an overall feeling at City Hall that we need to do something better here for the city?
Most definitely. I think with the developments that we have coming in, we want to promote bicycling and walking. And I think the only way that we can do that is, you know, to look at certain areas within the city and make some improvements.
Yeah, and take a hard look at those numbers and just really not flinch away, I suppose. Don McIver, good to see you. Hardcore biker, one of the better bikers around town. You and your wife were without a bike without a car for a number of years.
6 years was the final tally.
And when your sense of personal safety, not necessarily for biking, but pedestrian stuff as well, because you have to walk part of the time without a car. What's your take as a walker and as a biker on pedestrian safety? What's missing right now for you in Albuquerque?
Well, I mean, missing, I think the big thing we always factored and we always talked about are the routes we're choosing to take. You know, avoiding certain areas of being kind of aware that, okay, when we're going to go through here, this is what we have to do, and when we're going to hit here. And so it was, for us, I mean, I only had, I think, maybe one close call on the bike within 6 years.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
You know, and it was just because there were certain places I avoided, certain places I'm like, I'm not going that way. I don't think that's the best way to go.
Right.
You know?
Is that a good thing, though? I mean, do drivers not need to have a sense that bikes are everywhere and walkers are everywhere? Because I do the same thing. I avoid certain areas on my bike. I'm a bike and moped guy. I don't have a car. So I'm in the same place you are. And there are places around town I will not bike. And I will not walk sometimes as well. Should we just be doing this anyway, just to get people used to us being out there?
Well, I mean, I think to a certain degree, I think we could be doing it more.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously I'm not going to bike on the interstate. That's for cars, you know. I mean, there are certain streets that, you know, maybe steering clear of them, biking on them is not a great idea, but I think there could be more bike-friendly, pedestrian-friendly streets. So we've talked earlier about some areas where the bike path or the bike lane disappears, and suddenly you're thrown in the mix of a really bad intersection, and it's just not, you know, not a good. And it's like, well, you kind of told me to go this way in a way because they put a bike lane down it, or they.
That's right.
You know, and so I think it would be nice to kind of put those pieces together and say, okay, yeah, that's right. We have a bike lane here. We have a bike lane there. They're going to come this way. We better make sure this little connector is in place.
Good segue to Ann for Bike ABQ. This is something Bike ABQ has been working on for a long time, is stitching all of this together, as Dawn's saying, to make some kind of cohesive walking, biking, you know, footprint that we can all rely on and get around safely. Tell us your philosophy at Bike ABQ and why you want to have these kind of things happen.
Our philosophy is to have more people cycling and to cycling safely. We think that cyclists should observe the rules. There's been some talk recently about cyclists not following the rules, and we think as much as motorists are responsible, so are cyclists as well as pedestrians. The idea of stitching together, when the mayor was first talking about the 50-mile loop, that is one point that Bike ABQ advocated, was let's tie together everything that we have already. We have a lot in place, but it's not connected. And they're doing a wonderful job with putting those pieces together. Alvarado, for instance, has been designated with some special designations. There's been a new light put in for making safer crossings. Hopefully that'll be a impetus to put more of those around town to tie more together. There's a lot to be done.
Absolutely. Marisa, we're just about under a minute here before we watch the first part of this documentary. One of the things in the KUNM reporting that really struck me was the lack of sidewalks, particularly in the South Valley and some parts of our town, where folks are pushing baby carriages down bumpy dirt roads, just right on the shoulder.
Sure.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of the reports that my colleague Ed Williams did was about this area of the South Valley where people are walking to get to school and there's just not a sidewalk there, and that road is zoned for heavy industrial use, which means that you have great big trucks going down that road as well. And there have been some accidents, some really tragic accidents there. But I think that's also something that you can see all over the state, is where there's just a basic lack of infrastructure that creates really dangerous situations for pedestrians and bicyclists.
Glad you mentioned that. We're going to talk about infrastructure in a little bit, but now let's watch the first half of the film, Hikers, Bikers, and Automobiles.